Kia ora, I'm Erin J. Doyle. Welcome to my channel. Two quick things before we get started. First of all, yes, I've been gone. No horrible tragedies have befallen me. I've just been tired and needed a break from stuff, and this is one of the things that I could easily take a break from, so break was taken. Second, a quick congratulations to my friend Chidgey on her book Remote Sympathy being chosen for the longlist for the Women's Prize as well as the shortlist for the Dublin Literary Awards, so yay! Okay, with the business out of the way, let us get on to the video. This is going to be a book haul of entirely New Zealand fiction. The reason I've decided to do this, very long, probably not very interesting story short, is because I don't really read very much New Zealand fiction at all, and I've been thinking that I should address that. So I went into this year thinking, right, I'm going to read lots of New Zealand books, but then I didn't know where to start. And while I was umming and ahhing over where to start, the long list, I was going to say short list, the long list for the Ockhams was announced. The Ockhams is the big New Zealand literary awards. And one of the prizes awarded as part of the Ockhams is the Acorn Fiction Prize, which is the biggest fiction prize in the country. So I thought, haha, this gives me a list. So I decided I would read the long list. Now, I'm not a fast enough reader to read the entire long list before the shortlist comes out and make prediction videos or anything like that. No, that's not going to happen. So what I have decided to do is read the entire long list over the course of the year and then do like a end of year wrap up on how my year of reading a whole bunch of New Zealand books went. But I'm also going to prioritise the 4 books which made it onto the shortlist, which has now been announced, and I will hopefully at least be able to do like a predictions video for the award itself, at least based on the short list. But I will continue to read the long list after that event. So that's what I decided to do, and I had to go and buy a whole bunch of books, hence the haul. But of course while I was out book buying I lost all sense of self-control and bought some other stuff. So we've got a couple of bonuses. So let's start off with those. First I grabbed the Absolute book, which is an absolute brick. The reason I grabbed this is because Elizabeth Knox is a New Zealand fantasy writer who has previously written for younger readers. This is, I believe, her first adult fantasy, and it's a New Zealand author of fantasy published by a New Zealand publisher. This is unheard of. In years past, this publisher on their website had a statement saying, no, do not bother sending us romance, sci-fi or fantasy, go to hell, basically. No, they didn't say go to hell, but you know, like they just wouldn't consider it at all. So the fact that she has sort of done the impossible, I thought, worth a read, probably. And the other, not on the long list book I grabbed is a collection of short stories. This is the Huia short story collection. It is a collection of contemporary Maori authors and possibly one of the most beautiful books I have ever owned. Oh my god, isn't it beautiful? Right, on to the long list. Let us start with Unsheltered. I believe this is about a woman whose young daughter has gone missing and she's travelling across country to try and find her, I think. I'm going entirely off my vague recollections of reading half the blurb. It is not normally how I would choose a book, but because I was just going off the long list, I didn't need to like learn about them in advance, did I? Okay, next up we have Everything Changes. I gather this is humorous and is about a family that buys a rundown motel and are renovating it, and it's something of a dysfunctional family tale. Next we have Loop Tracks, which I have now actually read. This is... what is it about? It is about a young person who is needing to get an abortion in the 1970s when that was not something that was easily accessible in New Zealand, and she has to travel to Australia to get it, and things do not go quite according to plan, and it overall becomes a discussion about access to abortions and things. Right, next we have, I assume this is still pronounced Alice. The spelling throws me. Alice in Therapyland, which is about a woman who's just started at a new job, and I think it has something to do with workplace bullying. I'm not going to read the blurb on camera, that would be very boring. We're just going to move on with my random guesses. Next we have a short story collection. This is the Pink Jumpsuit. I'm about halfway through and so far very much enjoying these very, very short stories. And next up we have She's a Killer. I believe this is about a woman with a very high IQ but who isn't necessarily that high achieving, and her childhood imaginary friend has reappeared and is up to something. The next 4 books that I have are from the shortlist for the Acorn Prize, so these are my top priority reads at the moment, and I have actually read 2.5 of them, so I'm currently feeling quite good about that. First up we have A Good Winter. This is about an older lady who is assisting her friend and her friend's daughter after the daughter has lost her husband and is struggling with quite severe postnatal depression, and there may be some obsession going on. The blurb on the back of this does lean heavily into language which suggests a thriller. Now that I've read it, I'm not quite sure that that's how I would have described it, but it is quite a tense read. Next we have Entanglement. This is about a man, his relationship with his wife, time travel and physics. Next up we have the book I'm currently reading. This is Kuranga Etuku. I may be pronouncing that incorrectly, my apologies if so. This is a reimagining of a Maori legend which I think many New Zealanders would have grown up with. For the Kiwis watching this, it is a reimagining of the story of Hatupatu when he went and got fire from the bird woman. This is told from her perspective. Editing me just cutting in with a quick correction. While I was editing, I started to think about the book and I realised that there was no mention of fire. I was like, that's so weird because it's kind of the point of the story. And so I looked up the original story and discovered that for the last 30 plus years I've had 2 completely separate legends completely mixed together in my head. So the book is based on Hatupatu, who escaped the bird woman, and then there's a separate legend in which Maui goes to ask for fire from a goddess. Both stories involve a male protagonist going to the realm or home of a powerful non-human woman. Both stories involve some trickery, both stories involve him having to run for his life. I can see why like school age me probably got those confused and mixed them up, but yes, my bad, totally wrong, 2 separate things. The book is about escaping a bird woman, not about gaining fire. And last up we have Greta and Valden. This is about a brother and sister and I'm trying to remember the blurb. Don't read the blurb. It's them navigating modern relationships and dealing with their eccentric family life, I believe. That is the list. Whew. Oh my god. This is like my 8th take. That's the end of the haul. Like I said at the beginning, I will be prioritising those last 4 books with the plan to do a predictions video for the Acorn Prize, and the rest of them will be spread out throughout the rest of the year, and I'll do kind of a New Zealand reading wrap up at the end of the year. So yeah, watch this space. I will get back to you with wrap ups, I guess. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!